SF-26? That's it? Ferrari's big revelation for their revolutionary 2026 car is just slapping the year onto their standard prefix? I'm sorry, but this demonstrates exactly why Ferrari has been stuck in a championship drought. Their lack of imagination extends from their strategy department right through to their marketing team.
You're completely missing the significance of this, David. The name isn't what matters here. It's what Ferrari is communicating through this decision. By sticking with their conventional naming pattern during the biggest regulatory overhaul in years, they're sending a powerful message of stability during a period where everything else is changing.
Stability? Is that what we're calling Ferrari's performance now? They just finished 4th in the Constructors' Championship without winning a single Grand Prix in 2025. Their only achievement was a solitary sprint race victory. If I were running Maranello, I'd want to signal a complete break from that mediocrity, not embrace continuity.
This goes deeper than just recent results. Ferrari is deliberately focusing all their energy on the engineering challenges rather than wasting time on marketing gimmicks. Fred Vasseur made that strategic decision back in April to shift all aerodynamic development toward their 2026 car. With the ground effect era ending and an entirely new technical framework coming, they're operating on razor-thin margins. The naming convention is actually freeing up mental bandwidth for the technical revolution happening behind closed doors.
Let's expand on that timeline then, because it actually proves my point. Ferrari essentially gave up on 2025 in April to focus entirely on 2026. Lewis Hamilton endured a difficult year after leaving Mercedes, far worse than anyone anticipated, and now they've chosen the most uninspired name possible for what's supposed to be his salvation project? The man left Mercedes for this?
You're conflating separate issues. Hamilton didn't join Ferrari for creative car names, he joined for a championship opportunity. The SF-26 represents exactly what he wanted, a regulatory reset that could upend the competitive order. Remember, what we're seeing is an extraordinarily aggressive development strategy. Vasseur himself stated they'll finish assembling the car literally the day before its January 23rd launch in Maranello. They're pushing every boundary possible.
That aggressive approach sounds like the same old Ferrari panic we've seen for years. Last-minute scrambling rather than methodical preparation. And here's what truly bothers me. Charles Leclerc's comments about 2026 being crucial and now or never. Those aren't the words of a driver confident in his team's long-term approach. Those are the desperate hopes of someone who's watched Ferrari squander opportunity after opportunity.
You're misinterpreting Leclerc's enthusiasm as desperation. His exact words were that the whole team is extremely motivated and this represents a big opportunity to show what Ferrari is capable of. That's not panic. That's a team galvanized around a common purpose. The crucial nature of 2026 isn't Ferrari specific, it's industry-wide. Every team sees these regulation changes as potentially reshuffling the entire competitive order.
Then why is Leclerc saying it's now or never? Those aren't the words of someone looking at a standard regulatory change. That's someone who's been promised the world by Ferrari leadership and is now publicly putting them on notice. Remember how Ferrari operated during their last great era under Todt and Brawn? They brought in the best talent, gave them autonomy, and created an environment of excellence. I don't see that happening under the current regime.
What I see is a Ferrari that's learned from those glory days while adapting to modern F1. Project 678, as it was internally known, represents the first car built entirely under Vasseur's leadership approach. He's brought in technical talent from across the grid while maintaining Ferrari's core identity, which is precisely why the SF-26 name matters. It connects their heritage to their future.
Heritage doesn't win championships in Formula One. Innovation does. And I'm sorry, but calling your car SF-26 when you could have made a bold statement about a new era feels like a missed opportunity. Look at what Red Bull did with the RB17 Valkyrie, or Mercedes with Project One, creating brand identities that extend beyond the racetrack. Ferrari seems stuck in their ways while the rest of the grid evolves.
Those are road cars, not Formula One machines. Ferrari's F1 naming has always been pragmatic, from the 312T to the F2004 to today. What matters isn't the label, but what's underneath. And what's underneath the SF-26 is potentially revolutionary. They're effectively building their 2026 Challenger from scratch, with a completely new power unit architecture that must balance the 50-50 split between combustion and electrical power.
Which brings me to my central concern, Ferrari's technical execution. For all the talk about fresh starts and new eras, they've consistently failed to maximize their potential under the current regulations. They've had aerodynamic issues, power unit reliability problems, and strategic blunders. Simply naming a car SF-26 doesn't address any of those fundamental organizational weaknesses.
But the organizational structure has been completely overhauled under Vasseur. The SF-26 represents the culmination of those changes, a car conceived, designed, and built entirely under new leadership and processes. The simplified naming is actually a shrewd psychological move. It removes distractions and focuses everyone on the engineering task at hand, rather than living up to some grandiose marketing label.
Ferrari has been overhauling their structure since 2008. At some point, we have to acknowledge that the problem might be more deeply rooted in Maranello's culture than any technical regulation. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results, like naming your cars with the same convention while wondering why you keep getting the same disappointing outcomes.
You're ignoring the Hamilton factor in all of this. His arrival fundamentally changes Ferrari's dynamics. He didn't come to Ferrari for nostalgia or to collect a paycheck. He came because he genuinely believes in their 2026 project. He's seen their data, he's met with their technical team, and he's betting the final years of his legendary career on the SF-26. That vote of confidence speaks volumes.
Hamilton also believed in Mercedes' ability to bounce back from their porpoising issues, and look how that turned out. Drivers make career decisions based on limited information and emotional factors all the time. The fact remains that Ferrari is approaching the most significant regulatory change in a generation with the same naming philosophy they've used during their championship drought. If they truly believed this was a new era, wouldn't they signal it accordingly?
As we watch this 2026 regulation era unfold, with Ferrari's SF-26 leading their charge back to the front, we have to ask ourselves, in Formula One's endless pursuit of innovation, could Ferrari's greatest disruption actually be their steadfast consistency in an age where everyone else is desperately trying to reinvent themselves?